This is Matthew Cratter from Bitcoin University, and today I wanted to talk about when to take profits on your Bitcoin. In order to understand when to take profits on your Bitcoin, you need to understand something about how to use candlesticks in FX trading. So for example, a very well-known candlestick pattern is the shooting star pattern, and this happens when the market tries to move higher. The security or the stock or the cryptocurrency tries to move higher and then is rebuffed by sellers. And so it ends up opening or closing for that period, usually a daily period, very close to where it opened and was unable to sustain those heights. We can see a good example in this chart of the US dollar versus the Argentine peso. If you had gone long the peso when we had this shooting star right here on February 16th, February 29th, 2016, you would have had a nice trade here where the peso would have appreciated against the dollar and you would have made some profits. If we want to scroll out and take a better look at how that looks, you can see here that this was actually an amazing trade because you were able to capture this tiny little piece right here, and that looks like a really good use of time. In spite of the fact that the market's moving really well, it just keeps moving higher. Another pattern we could use is the candlestick pattern called the engulfing candlestick, bearish engulfing, which would be this one on the right. We have a good example here with the Turkish lira and the US dollar. This isn't a true engulfing candlestick because this the top of this red part should have been above the high of the previous day, but we can see this was a decent reversal pattern, especially if you were trading in intraday, and that allowed you to capture, if we scroll out, it really allowed you to capture a nice little piece right here. You can ignore this huge movement upwards. It actually looks like I'm missing something. Could it be that the fundamentals of each currency actually matter? Of course they do, because money printer go really burr currencies like the Turkish lira or the Lebanese pound or any of these currencies. They always depreciate against money printer go burr a little less currencies, and only a fool will jump in and out of a lifeboat, having once found the lifeboat. Again, this is parity. It's ridiculous to try to capture a tiny little movement here when in fact you could have captured the entire large movement upwards. And this is what trading Bitcoin is very similar to. If you're enjoying this video so far, I just ask you to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment, question, suggestion for a future topic, and share this video with some friends. So looking at those charts, we can see that only a fool would exchange his US dollars back into Argentine pesos or Turkish lira after having escaped death by hyperinflationary drowning once. In other words, the right time to sell your US dollars for Argentine pesos or Turkish lira is never. Likewise, Bitcoin is the ultimate lifeboat. Trying to buy bottoms, trying to sell tops in Bitcoin is a foolish endeavor. Using candlesticks, these sort of things can be used for short-term trading. I've used them effectively over various periods in my life. But when you have a one-way train, it's very, very silly to try to trade against it and to try to buy bottoms and sell tops. Now, unless you really need that money to buy food or help a sick child or something like that, you want to convert your Bitcoin into fiat to pay some fiat bills, that's one thing. But exchanging your scarce Bitcoin for a fiat token like the US dollar that has an infinite supply while Bitcoin is so scarce, exchanging a scarce asset for a non-scarce asset is irrational behavior. Again, it's your money. Bitcoin is yours to do whatever you want with. So if you really want that Lambo, go for it. But what I would say is don't expect to outperform hodling Bitcoin by trading Bitcoin or by trading any other crypto. You're not able to do this over the long term. If you think that you can do it, you're overestimating your trading ability and the significant drag on performance caused by short-term capital gains taxes. If you make just one mistake, you can end up giving back quite a bit of your profits. I like this quote from Michael Saylor, posted here by Jameson Lopp, and this is Saylor speaking, quote, "Trading Bitcoin is a sign of lesser intellect." I really like that phrase. Most people destroy themselves by thinking that they can time the market. It's one thing to trade things that are fairly range bound and or have short-term trends, but when something has a very long one-way trend, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to try to jump in and out of it. So the right time to take, quote unquote, take profits on your Bitcoin is never. The right time to take profits on your Bitcoin is never. In fact, the phrase doesn't even make sense. Taking profits, what does that mean? That means converting the best money the world has ever seen into a melting ice cube that you then need to immediately pay taxes on and then reinvest somewhere and hope you don't make a mistake and lose all of it or get rugged while it's on the exchange. Reinvest it somewhere in order to preserve its rapidly dissipating purchasing power. Doesn't make any sense taking profits. Once you understand money, once you understand how Bitcoin is the hardest money ever discovered, you won't want to quote unquote take profits. It doesn't make sense. The best time to sell your ETH for Bitcoin or your XRP for Bitcoin or your Cardano for Bitcoin or your euros for Bitcoin or your yen or Canadian dollars or US dollars for Bitcoin was yesterday. Unfortunately, the best time though, the second best time is today. If you wait too long, here's the problem. Even your trading profits could end up trapped on an exchange or in a fiat bank. If you understand the political situation and the macro situation, this is what can end up happening to your quote unquote profits. In that case, you won't have access to your money, your fiat money, or your other cryptocurrency, or to your Bitcoin either. And if you want to learn more about that, I talk about it in this video from November 2nd, You're Running Out of Time, in which I assert that at some point, and it may be sooner than people believe, it may become impossible to withdraw any amount of Bitcoin from a regulated exchange or entity to self-custody. And the reason for this is, of course, it could become necessary to try to close the exits from a rapidly inflating fiat currency, which is going to happen to the US dollar. It's already beginning to happen to the US dollar. It's just the US dollar is the best of all the sinking ships. It's much better than the Argentine pesos. It's much better than the Turkish lira. But when you really understand money and how it works and what an innovation Bitcoin is, you will realize that you also want to get out of the US dollar, not just get out of the Argentine peso or the Turkish lira. You want to get out of the US dollar and into Bitcoin, which is the real life raft. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.